How you doing, people? Robert here, AKA Robess, Anti-Corruption Scotland. Sorry I have not been on for a while, but I took a break because I'm watching what's going on out there. All the babble and rhetoric and the nonsense, and people still don't get what's going on here with corporations trying to control people's lives. But hee-haw, that's the people's problem, not mine, right? Firstly, you have to know who and what you are. And then you'll understand your life will change when you start fighting back to keep your rights, your equity, and your families, right? Now, a few people have contacted me relating to people getting their wages arrested, money getting taken out of their bank. Well, this is the fraud, people. It's all fraud. Every part of this legal system, legal society is all fraud. They're all corporations. Men and women hiding behind the person status, the corporation, the entity, the fiction. Person's the same status as a man or a woman, right? They currently convert the status for the man or woman to a person. A person only exists in paper. The old capital name, the driving license, the passport, that's your fiction, right? Anyway, back to the council tax. Now, I'm going to kind of break this down as best I can so people get this. Firstly, the system in England is entirely different from the system in the land of Scotland. We have notices, we have final demands, we have somebody wants and charge certificates. That's the way our system in Scotland works. Now, do not be getting mixed up with down the road and up here, right? And then I tell you here now, I'll verify under a charge of perjury. Nobody that I know have seen in the internet will do the same as what I'm saying just now, right? And that's because I stand by my word and honour, right? And I've got first-hand knowledge in everything I do, and I've got the evidence to back it up. Now, how does this work? Firstly, March every year, roughly about March, just before the start of April, you get a notice in, council tax notice, and it tells you, for example, £1,200–1,300 a year that you have to pay council tax, and the name of the individual entity that's in it, as example, Glasgow City Council, Renfrewshire Council, etc, etc. What happens then is, if you don't acknowledge and start making payments, they send you a reminder. Then if you don't respond to that, they send you a final demand. And this is where the threats start, people. After the final demand, they pass it to a debt collecting agency such as Stirling Park, Scott & Co, Walker and Love, etc, etc. And they then tell you, the entity, the men and women representing the entity, then tell you that Glasgow City Council has passed the alleged debt onto them, right? Now, Glasgow City Council, so you get this and it's crystal clear, is an entity, a corporation. Men and women behind that mask of that corporation is causing the problem, but not one of them men or women in any corporation, including the CEOs, finance directors or anybody else, will come forward in his or her private capacity under full personal liability and make a claim and say that you owe a debt, right? It cannot be done. And the only way this can be done is if you've got a contract, either in the private side or the corporate side, with individually man or woman or the corporation, right? You don't have that. So what they use is statutory legislation for the council tax, 1992, Government Finance Act, right? And they use sections from that. Now, the key question here is that people still don't get, and I don't care about the gurus on TikTok, YouTube or anywhere else, is, are you a person? Are you the person in the act? Where is the contract? Now, a legislator, a man or woman acting in capacity as a legislator, write the acts, and they're part of that government corporation. The Scottish Government, the Westminster Government is corporations. The Scottish Parliament is a corporation. The House of Commons, House of Lords are corporations. Cabinet Office is a corporation, right? But none of these men or women will come forward and make a claim in their own private capacity under full personal liability under a charge of perjury. That's why they keep passing things to different departments and different agencies to escape liability. That's how this fraud works. Now, people have to start challenging it, right? So when you get to the point of the somebody want, The sheriff officer's given me a spiral book. It's already in my videos previously, but I'll cover it again. Into a court or a Mickey Mouse court, a private hired court, right? Because that's what that is. All the courts are private corporations registered and done in Bradstreet, the same as everything else, right? And they come under the law of commerce, the law of contract, and to make a man or woman perform, there has to be a contract on the private side or the corporate side. But people don't get this. It doesn't matter about the statutory legislation. Is your name in that legislation? That's why they use the word person in every legislation, statutory legislation, person, because it covers everything, not man or woman, thing, entity, corporation, right? Now, what happens is they begin with that spiral book of names and they make an application for somebody want. But what the problem is, people don't get, and I've produced the evidence, I've produced the document on my TikTok channel. Say for instance, my name, or any name like Peter Pan, is the first name on the list. That somebody want is granted on that first name on that list. And I can confirm and verify it under a charge of perjury, right? And I'm telling you the truth as I'm standing here now doing this video. And what happens then is, they use that one name for everybody else on that list. If there's 500 names on that list, the other 499 names are covered by that somebody want. So let me be crystal clear when it comes to wants. For instance, if you've got 3 individual men or women that's maybe people trafficking, holding firearms in their properties or holding drugs in their properties, right? When it comes to that side of the law, the police have to apply for 3 wants for 3 individual addresses and the individual's names individually, right? Now, the way they do the somebody want is fraud, 1,000,000% fraud, right? And the reason it's fraud is because in law, you have the right to face your accuser. You don't get an opportunity. So if a sheriff officer makes a claim that you owe a debt of £1,500 when you only owe the person only owes £700, the £1,500 charge stands. Plus, they're adding charges to this alleged debt. They're a third-party interloper, people. You have no contract with these people. They're acting in fraud. They're acting ultra vires, and these courts are doing the same. And the sheriffs are acting treasonous, right? They're going above their scope of their authority because they're a private corporation. And this is how they get away with it, because people's ignorance, and there's not a lot of people attacking this the way it should be attacked. They're not challenging the debt collectors, they're not challenging the banks when they try to take money out of their account. Remember this, people, when you open a bank account, or the person opens a bank account, because the man or woman goes to open an account but you're converted into a person, the status changes. You've got to do it in black ink, all capital letters, and fill in a form with boxes. That's the fraud. That's the misinterpretation of what you're doing. You think that you're opening a bank account, but what you're doing, the man or woman is opening a bank account, but you're actually getting converted into a person. The banks know exactly what they're doing, right? The employers can be challenged, right? Because they're acting as third-party interlopers, but people sit back and take it. There is no point in moaning and groaning, people, right? You have to stand up. I've got an ABC rule. Accept nothing from people in a legal system, legal society. They're all paid liars. Believe nothing from people in a legal society, legal system. They're all paid liars, and challenge everything. No matter how big, how small, challenge everything. Everything is open to challenge. But it's down to the individual man or woman, no person, man or woman. And I keep saying person, right? I verify that a person only exists in paper. And it's a major fraud that's getting committed against the sovereign people. The lands of Scotland, England, Ireland and Wales, and worldwide, because it's the same system, legal society. And this is how the people are getting screwed, because they don't understand, and they think people like me don't know what I'm talking about. Well, let me tell the people, I do know what I'm talking about. I've been doing this for over 13 and a half years, and it's been a painful fight. I've been locked up, my door's been kicked in, all the rest of it. My computers have been stolen me. The entity, men and women represent the entity known as Police Scotland, because I exposed the system, right? This isn't a game, people. This is deadly serious. And you can see right now the way they're targeting the people on sickness benefit. They're wanting to give vouchers for PIP and all the rest of it. So what I would say to you relating to the council tax, back to this. If you get a letter from a debt collecting agency called Stirling Patch, Scott & Co or Walk in Love, challenge them. Ask them for the summary you want, right? A copy of it, and I guarantee you won't get it. After they leave that court building, everything is sent back to the entity known as council, right? And what happens then is, when you contact them and challenge them, they'll tell you to contact their client, the council. The council's an fiction people, and this is a bit you have to understand. Glasgow City Council, Renfrewshire Council are dead legal fictions, entities that have no life, that have no right of mind to contract. And any man or woman making a contract or an agreement on its behalf is committing fraud because it has no life, it's dead speak. Can he interact with a living man or woman? And that's a fact. Can he write letters? Can he answer a phone? But the men and women behind that mask, person status, persona, can. And that's where the deception is, where people have to understand. Now, when you contact men and women, right, because when you phone up the man or woman representing the council, they'll tell you a pack of lies. They're all paid liars, right? Every part of this system, no matter what man or woman, what's in it, are all paid liars. And again, I verify this under the charge of perjury, any court jurisdiction in the lands of Scotland, England, Ireland, or Wales or beyond, right? Under the charge of perjury. So be noted that I said that, right? Now, if you write to the entity known as council, the finance director, they'll tell you there is a summary warrant, right? But what they do with the paperwork is they manipulate it. Bear in mind what I've just told you in the video. They use one name on the list, the very first name on the list, to get the summary warrant, right? Because they'd be there for days and weeks if they had to go through individually. This is where the fraud works. And this is how it works, okay? So take my word on this, people. I hate this system. Nobody hates this system more than I do, because I see what it does to the people and the families in the lands of Scotland, England, Ireland and Wales and beyond. As I said before, everything in this system is a corporation. Lawful, man or woman, crime, there's got to be an injured party that suffered harm, loss or injury. Legal, person, entity, fiction, corporation, that's how the men and women are being treated. Prime example, when you walk into a public court building and you go in for a criminal complaint, right? That's another legal terminology to hold you surety and liable. If you walk in the thing they call a dock, they don't hear you, don't recognise you, don't see you because you're a person, you don't exist, you're the dead. And a prime example is that when you walk in the court, it's full of seats filled with people and they tell the court to rise, they're raising the dead people. That's how this system works. You're a dead entity. They don't recognise you and they can't interact with a man or a woman. And I verify that in private capacity under full liability. Right? Now, as I said, the men and women will tell you there's a summary warrant and they'll manipulate the paper, right? Because people don't know how this works. So I've kind of broke this down just now, people. This is how this system works. Don't be confused with down the road with the orders and all the rest that they use. It's in two different systems. English and Scottish is two different systems. As I says, you'll get a council tax notice in March every year, just before April. You get a reminder if you don't pay it, you get a final demand, and then they'll start the threatening and the coercion against the people, telling you that there's a summary warrant being applied for. Now, I've just told you everything that you need to know, and if you don't get that, I don't know what else I can do. I try to break it down as simple as I possibly can for the people, and I hope you're starting to get it. But what you have to get is who and what you are. You're a man, you're a woman, and I'll tell you how you can verify that. If you cut yourself, you'll feel pain. If you are watching this video, you see a man in front of a camera talking words, right? You see my lips moving, then you can see you're a man or a woman. A person cannot, because it's a bit of paper. Your driving license and your passport, two examples, are fictions. If you look at them, if you're confused on what I'm saying about the license and the passport, ask it a question and see if it answers. I guarantee it won't answer because it's not you. If you look in the mirror, you'll see your reflection. This is how this system works, people. It's so easy to work out. As I says, everything is open to challenge. It's down to the man or woman to start challenging everything, right? As I says, I pulled away there for a wee while to take a break because I see what's going on out there. I'm listening to all these gurus on TikTok and BitChute and YouTube, and I'm sitting angry with these people because they're still dragging you into the legal system, using their rules, regulations and policies. Remember people, rules, regulations and policies is corporate rules, regulations and policies by corporations. They are not law. A corporation cannot make a law, right? As I said, for a law to be broken, there has to be an injured man or woman, party or victim, corpus delicti. If there is no injured party, man, woman or victim, there is no crime. You cannot have a victimless crime, right? That's a fact in law, a maximum law. I hope these people are now getting what I'm saying, and I hope these people are paying attention to what I'm telling you. I've tried to break this down as simple as I can, and I've told you how this works. I've told you how to challenge it. You can also write to the example Glasgow Sheriff Court, Paisley Sheriff Court, to the Sheriff Clerk and do a subject access request telling them that you've received a letter from the sheriff officers known as Walker, Love, Scott and Co. or Stirling Park, telling yourself that there's a summary warrant being granted against you on whatever date and that address. When you do the subject access request, write to this. If you look on the court website, you'll see who the Sheriff Clerk is. That's who, and you put it to the Civil Department, not the Criminal Department, the Civil Department, and you challenge them with a subject access request asking for the specific information. Is there a warrant in that name? Either in the all caps name or the name that's on the letter. Is there a summary warrant for that address? The date it was granted and who was the sheriff? Okay? That's how you find out people, right? They'll write back telling you nonsense, or they might write back and give you the proper information, telling you there's only one name being used on the summary warrant and all the rest of it. If you check my TikTok channel and look back at the videos, you'll see what I've put up there. You'll see a letter from Paisley Sheriff Court verifying there's only one name used with the sheriff officers, a spiral book folder used to get the summary warrants, right? Please people, wake up, realise who and what you are, stand up and fight back, right? Again, everything is open to challenge. And the only way to challenge is to stand up and fight back. And that's a fact, okay? That's what I do, people. Anybody comes near me, I challenge them and I fight with them. And I go the full distance with them. I don't care, right? Because I am not a person. I am not a dead legal entity. I am not a corporation. I'm a living man. Flesh and blood. And that's so is all the people out there. But they just don't realise it because they've been indoctrinated to believe they're a person. They've been indoctrinated to think that statutes and that, rules, regulations and policies is laws, when it's not. It's two different systems running together, people. Lawful and legal. And I'll verify that. As a prime example, I got pulled last week. I didn't put the camera on because it wasn't worth the hassle, because the conversation lasted maybe 3 minutes. They pulled me up the traffic. They asked me if I was okay, and I says, I'm fine, I hope you're okay, Constable. And he's looked at me, I says, you're on your oath as a constable? And he says, I am. I says, that's good to know, thank you for telling me. He asked my name, right, people, and the answer I gave was the legal person's name, right? Robert Sproul. He asked my date of birth, and I said the legal person's date of birth and the date of birth. Now I've defined the difference there between myself and the person, because I've told him the person's registered to the DVLA, the person's registered to the license, and the person's registered to the insurance. They can only deal with persons as well, people, right? So after I did that, they done a check, they left me alone. Didn't get into a controversy, didn't get into an argument. It was dealt with within a couple of minutes. And I'll verify that under a charge of perjury, people. I don't need to tell you lies and misinformation. I don't fear this system. I hate this system. And this system hates me because of my knowledge. Not because of who I am, but because of the knowledge I have to back up what I do. And I hope you people take on board what I'm telling you here in this video relating to council tax and what I've just told you. Okay? Remember, every time you interact with people in this legal system, legal society, they're treating you as a citizen or a person, a corporation, an entity. They cannot deal with a man or woman, even though they stand and talk to you. If you tell them, you're not dealing with a person here, you're dealing with a man or a woman, what's the change of attitude? They cannot deal with a man or a woman. And this is where people are getting it wrong. Anyway, people, I'm sorry I wasn't on, but as I said, I had to have a serious think. Is it worth my while carrying on with this? And the only reason I'm still doing it just now is because one of my father's wishes before he died just over 3 years ago was to carry on and try and get remedy for the people. Well, I need to up the game on this if I'm going to do this because time's running out. One way of getting rid of this problem in Scotland, the lands of Scotland, is a sovereign people government. Get rid of every politician in the Scottish Parliament. Do not vote for the SNP, Tories, Green Party, Labour Party, Lib Dems. They're all part of the fraud. They're all registered corporations. Now there you go. I'm going to do a video on Reform UK. It just came to my attention. They've got 3 Dun and Bradstreet numbers, people. So they're another 3 corporations. They're one party. They're all part of the system. You'll never get remedy as long as you've got a legal system, legal society. Sovereign government, people's government run by the people is the only way forward. That way we shut the corporations down. Every penny that comes into the lands of Scotland is the people's. It can go to services, help the elderly, help the sick, end the food bank and homelessness, right? That's the only way forward. There's no other way. So anyway, again, I've been off track a wee bit, but I'm telling you the truth. I don't need to lie, give misinformation. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, people. Please make sure that you share this video far and wide. Make sure everybody gets this in Scotland, right? I've challenged any man or woman representing any corporation, including judges, High Court judges, procurator fiscals, police, anybody in this system, man to person, and I'll wipe the flavour of them because I know how the system works. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, people. Take care, be safe, and I'll speak soon. Bye-bye.